The situation at hand is that in this point in one's intervention of really trying to break through these layers of ego, which is causing this inability of the soul to shine through that ego, and we tried all these different methods. If still that's not working, bring in the dream wake-up call. So, meaning what we're trying to do here is trying to give the ego a reality check that, hey, you gotta soften up, you gotta allow the soul to shine through, because the ego's like, I'm fine, God and I are fine, I'm holy, and that complacency mentality of the ego, it's not allowing for the godly soul, for the divine spark, the light, the truth within to shine forth. Okay, so once again, and I feel a deep moral obligation to say this at the beginning of every single chapter, because we only want to give people good advice, is that this chapter was written for a very harsh ego. The ego of our generation, as clearly explained by Lubavitcher Rebbe, is an ego that can only handle strengthening and encouragement. This idea of splintering the ego, of breaking the ego, is something that for us, it hurts. It breaks us down. It doesn't allow us to have that breakthrough. The breakthrough comes from love and compassion. So take these ideas intellectually. We can still appreciate why they would make perfect sense in context of a very harsh, intense ego, and take what you can for yourself, okay? So here's the situation. When we are sleeping, when we're dreaming, that we're going to higher levels, right? Tzaddikim are just like so translucent, so clean, so just like ready to transcend, so open that they're able to just go to the higher world. And therefore, sometimes they'll have answers in Torah study, like they have a question while studying Torah that day. So that night in their dream, they'll get an answer, right? They'll really have divine revelations in their dreams, divine insight, because they're going up higher, right? To more as a bird's eye view, a higher perspective. The higher up you go, right? The more perspective you have on the world down here. So it's making a person realize, wait a second, my dreams have not had the most holy and pure content. My dreams are not so elevated. Meaning, whoa, there is this blockage. Oh, this ego is not so true, right? Like, it's not actually that everything's fine. Oh, there is something to work on. And that's helping a person break out of that complacency. So empty or negative dream content suggests that your soul is unable to ascend to heaven. Heaven meaning one of the higher worlds of Yetzirah, Bria, or Tzilus during your night's sleep. As the verse states, who shall go up on the mount of God, and who shall stand up in his holy place? The clean of hands and the pure of heart. Psalm 24. Only the pure are admitted to heaven, the mount of God. So rejection of your soul from there during sleep suggests that you are not clean of hands and pure of heart. It's giving ego the memo. Actually, everything isn't just peaches and cream. Like, there actually is work to be done, which is getting out of this mindset of complacency. And when the soul fails to enter heaven during sleep, right, and fails to have this higher ascent, those evil aspects come and cling to him, informing him of worldly matters, some false, some true, confusion. And sometimes they toy him, show him falsehoods, tormenting him in his dream. Meaning, when a person's soul isn't having that ability to really enter the higher world, so sleep is actually a spiritually torturous time in a way, because we're seeing all these falsehoods, we're seeing something's true, something's false. It's just really messing with a person. If you ever woke up from a bad dream, okay, that sleep was not reviving. And so one of the ideas, actually, is a side note to this conversation, is that saying bedtime Shema means that I'm returning my soul in a state of, it's clean, it's ready to go. Right? It can just ascend. To give a silly example of washing the dishes, okay? So if I want to cook and I have a dirty pot, I'm not going to be able to cook. So when I'm cleaning out the pot, I'm cleaning out the burns and the scrubs and like whatever's on the bottom of the pot from that day before Shema, but while doing bedtime Shema, I'm like really like cleaning myself out, getting back to the state of purity. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to cook. Let's go to the higher world. Let's have a soul experience. Let's recharge on the deepest level. Versus my not returning my soul in that way, I can't just expect to go and have that higher revelation because my vessel is still filled with stuff. My vessel is not ready to receive a higher revelation. The disgust method. When a person takes to heart their nightly rejection to enter the higher world, they're realizing, I'm not exactly making it to Yetzirah or Bria, or definitely not a Tzilus, okay? I'm like staying here with the bad dreams. And how their dreams reflect that they will feel heartbroken inside. When they reflect on this, they're going to feel heartbroken inside and will feel disgusted and repulsed by their life. The ego is getting splintered. It's happening. It's like, ugh. Like, it's like, oh, wow. Like, everything isn't just fine. Like, no, I actually do have work to do. I want to reach those higher levels of sleep. I want to have dreams of higher revelations and like really not just dreams. I want to have a soul ascent during sleep. I want to have this divine revelation. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to need to clean up my side of the street. I'm going to need to really work on myself spiritually. And so this is breaking a person through that complacency. So, mission accomplished. This will cause a person to thereby be repulsed and degrade the sitra achra, right? These layers of concealment, which yourself is identified, and you cast it down to the ground, humiliating it from its grandiosity, its inflated ego, and its arrogance. And this is what led it to exert itself over your divine soul's holy power of Chachma and block its light, causing you to be spiritually desensitized. What happened? The ego got out of hand. It got too big, and therefore it blocked my clear channel, which is Chachma, right? Chachma is the window of my soul. Imagine someone comes and spray paints your window black, okay? The ego came and like spray painted your window to your soul black, and therefore I couldn't see clearly. And through all of these exercises, I've cleaned off my lens. I can see clearly now. No, this ego needs to be put in its place. So another wake-up call tactic, okay, in case all of this hasn't worked, that the altar is giving, is encouraging your divine soul to become enraged with your animal soul, to humble the sitra achra, the other side, the side of otherness within, okay? So once again, this is an emergency measure tactic, and it's not something we practice today. And even the days that it was practiced, it was an emergency measure practice. A person should always make his impulse to good angry at his impulse to evil. As the verse states, don't get angry and don't sin. So what's that anger is talking about? It's getting angry at the impulse to evil. Meaning to say, get angry with your impulse to evil to avoid sin. Say to your animal soul, for how much longer will you hide before the blessed infinite light? Animal soul, what's going on here? What are you doing to me, right? It's getting angry with it. It's saying, no, I don't want this, right? It's using the power within of anger, which is actually from the animal soul, against the animal soul. How interesting is that, right? So you're getting your godly soul angry at your animal soul. The Tanya offers a brief meditation on the nature of God's infinite light. Okay, so like whatever in these chapter 21, we have like a moment of like pure godly chassidus and like light and beauty. We're not like crushing our ego. I'm like really grateful. It's like, whew, okay, let's breathe. All right, so let's learn about the nature of God's infinite light. The nature, we're telling the animal soul, stop hiding from God's infinite light. Well, what is that infinite light? It's an infinite light that floods all the world and is devoid of any limitation, such that simultaneously he was, he is, and he will be, all at once. And even in this very place where I stand, the infinite light shines right here, right now. The infinite light is shining. And as infinite light remains alone, just as it were before the world was created, as the verse states, for I, God, have not changed, since God transcends time. So in chapter 33, we're going to go deeper into this meditation, but it's just making me realize, whoa, right? I'm trying to clean off this spray paint on the soul, on my soul's chachma, right? My vision has been skewed. I want to clean it off and remembering God's infinite light. Wow, right? That's the God I'm blocking myself from, right? Why do I want to block myself out from God? This is Hashem. Hashem is everywhere. Hashem is one. This is infinite, endless, beautiful light that, yes, I want to be encompassed by. It's almost like someone forgot how good godliness is because their vision has been obscured by their ego, and we're just cleansing off that lens. Then tell yourself, right? Okay, so we had our nice moment of lovely chassidus, and right back to it. But you, wretched one, deny this self-evident truth, that in his presence everything is considered zero, which is obvious as if it were seen visibly, okay? So we're like, wow, Hashem's light is everywhere, and I'm denying it! Oh no, right? I want to get that spray paint off my lens, right? It's blocking the window to my soul. I want it off. I want to realize, I want to have a glimpse of the truth of like, wow, Hashem's right here. I could be so connected if I want to be. I'm in God's endless light. Oh no, I've been denying that reality that is plain as day. The above meditation will allow your divine soul the clarity to break through this Timtum Malef. Oof, let's go for it. Why is the above method effective at getting rid of Timtum Malef, right? Why is this actually able to break through the complacency? Because the reality is that the sitra achra, the side of otherness, has no substance at all. You heard that sitra achra, no substance at all. Okay, there's a story about the Frierdiker Rebbe, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson, that he was in communist Russia and Soviet Russia, and what happened is it was a Purim event, and they came to spy on him because they wanted to arrest him and assassinate him, God forbid. And there they were, KGB, right in the audience of the crowd as he was about to say a Hasidic discourse. And he spoke directly that Klipa and Sitra Achra, they have no substance at all. Like he kept saying, they have no substance at all. He spoke very harshly in a language that they could understand. And they left, right? When we acknowledge that darkness has no power, it doesn't. The Sitra Achra can only conceal the truth, but it has no real power. Once its lies expose, its allure is neutralized, right? So as long as that lie is kept alive, like it seems to have power. But once we expose that lie, there's no substance underneath it. The Sitra Achra, the side of otherness, is compared to darkness. Since darkness has no substance at all, it will effortlessly be banished by light, right? This is such a Hasidic Alter Rebbe approach. How do we conquer darkness? We don't. We just add light. Because the moment you add light, the battle is won, because darkness has no substance of its own. The Sitra Achra seems to have considerable substance, right? It seems like it has substance. Since, right, the KGB was really in the room, ready to arrest him, ready to cause him serious harm. Since it has a lot of energy, with which it animates all the non-kosher animals, as well as the animal souls of the wicked nations of the world, and the animal souls of Israel. Nevertheless, despite this apparent abundance of substance, in reality its energizing power is not autonomous, God forbid, but rather its power is derived indirectly from the power of holiness, right? It doesn't have its own existence. God forbid, we believe in God's true unity. God is enlivening the Sitra Achra. This is God's creation. That's why being inherently devoid of substance, the Sitra Achra is eliminated completely by the presence of holiness. Just as physical darkness is eliminated by physical light. When we realize it has no substance, right? It's just God's enlivening it. It has none of its real existence. This is a masquerade. In that moment, it loses its power over us, right? The moment we realize it's a challenge, the intensity, the suffering of it goes away. As soon as we realize, oh wait, this is from God, that delusion melts away. But if the Sitra Achra is so devoid of substance and power, why is it so difficult to overcome it in our daily lives? Okay, what's happening? So this is only the case of your divine soul's holy power of Chachma that's being obscured, right? What's happening here is that this ego is blocking my window to my soul. Please don't do that. I need that, right? And so that's why the Alter Rebbe is taking this so seriously. We need the light of Chachma. We need to be able to see that light in order to remember this mission. And that's why we're taking Timtum Alev, this spiritual complacency, so seriously, because it's blocking the light of my soul. And that is my superpower. That is my ability to rise above. Okay, and if you're going to do this work, God will help you, all right? When you want to clear off your lens, you want to clear off your window to your soul, the power of Chachma, the power of wisdom, God's going to help you. Like it says, with an awakening from below, from man's efforts, there's an awakening from above. God helped us. God helps us. To fulfill the verse said of the Sitra Achra, the side of otherness, if you lift yourself high like an eagle, from there I will bring you down, says God, right? The ego, the Sitra Achra, is flying high, and God's going to bring it down. How? Through our efforts, through our willingness, through our wanting to see truth. So how exactly would God bring the Sitra Achra down? Namely, he'll take away the Sitra Achra's power and ability away. By stripping it of the ability and permission it was given to exert itself over the divine soul's holy power of Chachma. And stripped of this power, it'll be effortlessly banished and eliminated, just as physical darkness is eliminated by physical light. It's taking its power, its stronghold off of us. So we actually find this idea clearly in the idea of the spies, okay? So the spies went in to the land of Israel, who wasn't the land of Israel at the time, and they went in and they came back with an evil report. And what did they say? They said, we are unable to go up against this people, for they are stronger than us. And then Talmud says, don't read it like that. Read it as, don't read it as stronger than us, but rather stronger than God. So suggesting they didn't believe in God's power to help them conquer the land, right? The light of their soul, the Chachma, was obscured by this false sense of self, by this false sense of ego. So what was the change of heart? All of a sudden, they're like, no, we're ready to go. We're ready to go into the place that God spoke about. We're ready to go into the land of Israel. Like, what happened? Nothing changed, really. Because Moshe's rebuke, right? His harsh, right, so all that happened is that Hashem's anger about it, right? This rebuke that was going on it crushed the klipa, and that klipa was obscuring their light, their ability, their vision, the light of Chachma, the window of their soul. And the moment that klipa was crushed, that they realized, like, no, we're in trouble for this, that God is not happy with us, they woke up. It's not like God showed them some miracle to say, yeah, I'm powerful enough. No, they knew that. It's just that that vision was obscured, and the moment the ego was crushed through this rebuke, the moment they were able to actually see the truth, which they could always see the whole time, it was always there, it was obscured. So nothing positive happened to inspire them. Nothing changed, except they didn't need to acquire faith. It's not like all of a sudden they had new faith. Why? Because Jews are inherently believers. B'nai ma'amim. We're believers, the children of believers. Gemara Shabbos. This is who we are. What happened? Why didn't they believe when they were in the land of Israel? Because the light of the soul of Chachma was obscured by this inflated ego, this inflated sense of self, if I need to do this on my own. And the moment they had that harsh rebuke and it crushed the ego, the light of the soul was there, and they were able to see clearly that of course God could help us through this. Okay, so what happened to their faith earlier? The Sitra Achra fan on their bodies exerted itself over the divine soul's holy light. Arrogance, and irrational chutzpah, right? That's what came up. And therefore, as soon as God became angry with them, it was enraged with a thunderous voice of anger, saying, how much longer must I bear this evil congregation? Your corpses will fall in the desert. Okay, right? Really, went strong there. I, God, have spoken, right? It was really rebuked them. I will do this to an entire evil congregation. That's when their hearts were humbled and broken inside them, hearing these harsh words. As the verse states, and the people mourned greatly. As a result, the Sitra Achra was crushed, and therefore the ego was flattened, and they were able to see clearly that of course God can help them. So when doubtful thoughts pop into our mind, right? We're doubting faith, we're doubting God. Remember that they're just words emanating from the Sitra Achra, which has exerted itself over divine soul. But Jews are inherently believers, the children of believers. Our faith is our essence. Our faith is the real truth. It's our reality. It's just that the reality has been spray painted over, and we need to clear that lens. Remember, the Sitra Achra itself is a servant of God and believes in God without any doubts at all. And it only has been granted permission by God to confuse you with lies and deception, so that your reward for resisting its allure will be greater. The Sitra Achra is working for God. The darkness does not want you to choose it. The darkness wants you to reveal that all there is light. Okay, this challenge is all for us. It's for our benefit. And it's connected to the parable in the Holy Zohar of the king who hires this harlot to go and seduce his son, because he wants to test his moral fiber, his moral character. And this king is hoping that the son's going to withstand the test, so he will be fitting to be king. And the harlot is hoping that the king's son is not going to be seduced, because she wants the king's son to be king, and she wants the king to be happy with her. She doesn't want to complete this mission, okay? And so tests and challenges in our life, they want us to win. They want us to overcome them. The darkness wants us to reveal that ultimately all there is light, and we have the power to do this. This is within us. We are children, believers, the children of believers. We have the spiritual inheritance. Once again, the mission statement of Tanya, we can do this.